And welcome back to Big Apple Hockey for another episode of The Final Buzzer. I am your host, John Polkowski. Follow me on Twitter at 92in82. Definitely also check us out on Facebook at Facebook, as you'll see across the ticker at the bottom there, facebook.com/group/Big Apple Hockey. Follow us on there for more hockey talk. And we're going to be going over some more content as well in the future. So definitely keep following us on there. Keep joining me on here for these. I didn't get to really do it last night because I didn't get home in time. I was out for a friend and watching the game. So didn't really, like I said, get to do this last night. So I wanted to do that tonight. What's going on, Steven? Yeah, so you know what time it is. I'm just going to get into it because there's a lot to talk about in the trade rumor front. So I really want to get through the good, bad, and ugly part quick. So let's do that, and we'll get to the Q&A afterwards. So here we go. All right, it's that time again. You know how I call it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is an interesting game because there's really not a lot of gray area here. Hey, Matt, I see you in the chat. So not a lot of gray area. There's some good, and there's just bad, and then it's just some flat out ugly. Yeah. So the first thing I'll go over is we gotta talk about Alexis Lafreniere. We really do. I mean, he's continuing to play. He's got 13 goals in the season now. I believe that's a career high for him. He's really found his groove on that top line, and he looks like he belongs. I love the way he's playing lately. He's engaged. He's skating. He's competing. He looks faster. He looks stronger. Something is clicking with this kid, and maybe I think he might be here, and I hope he's here because he looks really good, and it's just I can't even believe the way that he looks. It's night and day from earlier on in the season. I mean, hopefully we're getting closer to having the superstar that we thought that we got with the first overall pick. So, yeah. This comment says it all from Steven. It's amazing what happens when you put a first overall pick with players who can score. Novel concept, right, guys and girls? Right? So, thank you, Brody, as always. I appreciate that. I did not see a fake Sherratt trade, so you guys might have to keep me up with that. I was just at the gym before. I just got home and tried to throw something together to eat and wanted to do this. So, but yeah, if you guys got more info on that fake Sherratt trade, I will gladly take a look at that and give you my thoughts on that in the Q&A. So, yeah, but I don't know. I know that the Rangers, according to Darren Dreger, are one of the teams that are in on Sherratt. I hope to God they don't get him. I just don't think he moves the needle. You want to go get Mark Giordano? Fine. Cool. I'm a fan of that. Otherwise, if you're going to go make a big move on defense, go get Jacob Chikrin. I know a lot. Oh, well, we don't have the assets to go get JT Miller and then that. But you know what? Like, it's just, I don't understand it. I really don't, because Patrick Nemeth can't play come playoff time. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah. Hey, John, I see you in there. This is a good point because for a while we've been talking about Alexis Lafreniere getting into the top six and that they should have actually given him a chance earlier on when he didn't click right away. But they didn't want to do that for whatever reason. And now they've finally given him time to assimilate into that line, and he's finally getting it. But Dryden Hunt and Barclay Goodrow can't be in a top six role. They can't. Dryden Hunt's got to go. So, hey, there we go, Sean. I like that one. But John, no, I don't think Hampus Lindholm's happening. I don't think he goes anywhere. So I want to see more from Alexei Lafreniere. This is probably the longest stretch of consistent play that I've seen from him, though, in his career, and it makes me think that he's getting closer. So I'll move on from Laf. Igor got lit up in the second, not by his own accord. It just the defense just failed him horribly in the second. But he rebounded in the third. I like the way he rebounded in the third period. I thought he was excellent in the first. I thought the Rangers actually didn't really all play that great in the first. They were lucky to get that lead, but they really tested Igor in the second, and Igor gave up those 3 goals. And just you got to play better in front of him. I thought one of the shots was a good shot, but I think the angle was misplayed a little bit. The shot from the side that beat him over the shoulder. I forgot who took it. Hold on. I'd have to take the Barbashev one. Yeah, I thought the Barbashev one was a good shot and it was placed well, but I think if the angle is played more correctly, and I maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a goaltender, but I thought the angle, it looked like he was a little off on the angle. That's just me. I mean, I'll defer to people who are goalies, and maybe you might have a little bit of a better perspective on that than I would, but it just looked like it, just from the shooter's perspective, I don't think he should have had that angle, So that's just me. But I mean, again, defense failed him. That was, I believe, Keandre Miller and Jacob Trouba were at fault on that one, if I remember correctly. I know that Trouba, Fox, and Lindgren were at fault for 2 of them, and then the other one was Lindgren and Trouba. Or I'm sorry, Miller and Trouba, who we need better play from the top 4 defenders. But Igor, like I said, he let up the 3 goals, and then the third period, I thought he rebounded and played very well in the third, just like he did in the first. But yes, so the Barbashev goal was the one where it was Miller. Then okay, all right, yeah, that's I was getting, like I said, I was getting him confused there for a second. So yeah, but moving on from Igor, because I don't want to say too much about Igor. It just wasn't his best game, but you know what? His defense didn't help him. So Panarin and Fox were really not at their best, I thought. But they still put up points. You would, Elsie. You would with this Nemeth comment. You would. Yeah. I know what you're doing, Greg. I know what you're doing. And you can stop, you shit disturber. So, but it wouldn't be you if you weren't that way. But, yeah, Nemeth getting a goal, yeah, ridiculous. I didn't even put that on top of on one of my things because it was just the flukiest thing ever. It was like Tenorti. Yeah, no. But Fox and Panarin not at their best, and Panarin's looked off. But you know what? And so was Fox. Fox was just, his defense was atrocious. Greg, I don't think it's injuries, though. I don't think it's injury. I don't think it has anything to do with injuries. I think it's all up here. Like, Panarin's not been himself this season, and he's still, as Steven's saying, Panarin could play mediocre hockey and still be a point-per-game player, which is insane. Like, Panarin would probably be near the top of the league in scoring if he was on his game. That's a scary part. I mean, yeah, and the shot wasn't even on net for Nemeth's goal. Greg is just messing with me, though, because he knows how much I dislike Nemeth. So I'm surprised Mark hasn't chimed in. I'm definitely with you on this, Greg. I've said this for a couple of weeks now that he hasn't looked good. And I said it on Twitter. I have a post going back to February 17th saying it. So I do like the fact that they put up points last night, which is great, but I want to see better play out of the 2 of them. But the fact that they're not at their best is just, and they're still putting up points, is just insane to think about. So, yeah, and you're right, Greg. He hasn't wanted to shoot the puck. Like, he just hasn't. I don't want to. I don't want to be that guy, but Panarin's got to shoot the puck more. He's got to. Yeah, Matt, I'm with you on this, Matt. When Hunt is the other winger, it is harder to be on your game, and Hunt does not belong in the top 6. Hunt belongs as a 13th forward. That's it. Like, he's not an NHL player. He is a fringe NHLer at best. And you can't have these guys playing important minutes on a team that has playoff aspirations to win a playoff round or to go deeper or anything like that. So we'll talk about that in a little more as well, but I just wanted to get that little bullet point in. Kreider with a game-winning goal, which was awesome. So I can't even I can't even fathom how Chris Kreider has 35 goals. I'm looking at Chris Kreider with 35 goals now. 35. I can't even believe that. I never would have thought this in my life, that Chris Kreider would have had 35 goals. But here we are. We're talking about Chris Kreider and 35 goals. So he needs to be more consistent, Chris Kreider. It's good that he got there and got the deflection, and it was great to see Adam Fox take the one-timer, which he needs to do more often, because the defenders key on him passing because they know he's going to pass. But if he takes that one-timer, he opens up things for everybody else. So, and you gotta take the one-timer every now and then. You gotta take the shot and get the shot through. So, but this is an interesting one. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to bookmark that for Q&A. So that's the Greg's comment about Revo and Ott chirping each other. I also going to highlight your other one about the sitting for the playoffs and stuff. I do like that comment too, Greg. No, you know what, Steven? I disagree. And I'm not saying because he's not scoring. I'm saying he needs to be more engaged and play a better all-around game like he was earlier on in the year when I was praising him for doing it. I haven't seen that from Chris Kreider lately. Like, in spurts, you see it, but those spurts are the more of like the inconsistent type Chris Kreider, and we don't want Chris Kreider going back to that. So that's what I'm talking about. But good to see him get the game-winning goal. I'm hoping he can hit 45 by the end of the year. He's been up and down lately, so who knows? But if he gets to 45, that would help the Rangers go a long way in the standings. So, but that's all I really have from the good.
That's good.
And we move on to the bad. And I know this is where everybody gets real tired of me, but sloppy defense all around. Not even just the defense corps, but the players, the forwards up front. You need to have better defense all around. The forwards did not want to commit to that type of game last night, and it cost them the lead. You blew a 2-0 lead and gave up 3 unanswered goals in that second period. Like, you can't do that. You cannot do that. You got to buy in. Everybody's got to buy in, and everybody's got to be willing to play the game. And there were just a lot of sloppy mental mistakes from a lot of players. Yep, this is it. Running around all game, puck watching, like Greg says. Did you eat your Wheaties or something, Greg? Because you're on top of everything tonight, man. You're get out of my head. I don't know why you're in my head like this, but get out of my head. Love you, but get out of my head. But no, all jokes aside, just too much puck watching, too many mental mistakes. Lindgren getting caught in the neutral zone the way that he did on was it the first goal, I believe? He got caught with his pants down. And then Adam Fox on the third goal. Like, what are these guys doing? They're just literally sitting there puck watching, and it's just sloppy mental mistakes, lazy plays that I haven't, that are just uncharacteristically bad for these guys. Usually there's a lot more attention to detail on defense, and I just, yeah, I can't I can't continue to watch that type of stuff. It's gotta end. It's gotta end because they're gonna be playing some good teams, and come playoff time, you want to be at your best. So it's time to get into good rhythms before the start of the playoffs and get rid of these bad habits. The earlier it starts, the better off this team is. So, I mean, if you started earlier, maybe, like Greg said before, we can start resting some of these guys when they clinch a playoff spot. That would be nice, right? Again, novel concept, right? So, yeah, I'm going to bookmark your comment here, Steven, about McKegg. Yeah, and Brzezinski. Yeah, I totally think that I totally agree with that. We'll want to talk about that. Julian, I do like this comment too. Igor does have a little bit of a tell. You're right about that. You need to shoot a little higher on him. I think that St. Louis did get that. So we're going to talk about the front office a little later in the Q&A, Julian. So good that you bring them up. The top 4 defenders need to be better in their own zone. Hey, Dylan, what's going on, buddy? I see you in there. So the top 4 defenders, they need to be better. You can't have them playing like this defensively. I get it. The offense was there from Fox, and I took heat on Twitter from people because I just okay. So it wasn't just me seeing this. Thank you. Somebody else was seeing this just other than me, because the Barbashev goal, his angle, I thought was weak as shit. I just thank God somebody else is seeing this. So I know I'm not going crazy, because there are times where I do just go crazy. And yeah, you know what? Sometimes we say things and we're a little frustrated, and yeah, but thank God I'm not going insane with this. So, yeah. You know what? And it's fine. Igor had a bad night. And you know what? It's not his best night. But when you're playing like prime 97, 98, Dominic friggin' Hasek, you're allowed to have a bad night. You're allowed to. And the team should pick their heads out of their own asses and start playing better in front of him so he doesn't have to be like that every damn night. Can I get an amen here? Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Greg. You could see that his angle is off on this. Oh, man. Oh, my God. Steven, thank you for this, too, because I've said this on Twitter the other day, and I even said this in group chats, and I said that everybody was destroying Georgiev for the Canucks game. And, yeah, I get it. But the one bad goal he gave up was that second goal in the Canucks game. And everybody destroyed Georgiev for it. Everybody does. And I said, well, if it was Igor, nobody would say a friggin' word about that goal. And then I got, oh, well, Igor plays great every night, so you don't have to say anything. Okay, no, you say something. Because when he plays a bad game, you point it out. Accountability across the damn board. So I'm going to highlight your comment here, Mark, about Mike, about Nemeth. Wow, I called you Mark. I can't believe I just did that. I'm sorry. That is an insult. I hope Mark is watching and hears that. So, yeah, Mike, I bookmarked your comment because I thought that one was funny. We'll get back to that in the Q&A. But yeah, I'm gonna move on from. I'm gonna hide this comment and get back to the banner here. The top 4 defenders, they need to be better. You need to have better play out of them. Here's the thing. The second pairing is not good enough to be as bad as they are like last night. And the first pairing has to be elite every game, which is totally unfair to Fox and Lindgren. So like they can't have a bad night because that second pairing is just atrocious defensively. So if they're having a subpar night or even one of their really bad nights, it screws everything up. Everything up. So I'll highlight this comment too about Schneider from Steven. because I do want to talk about him at some point. And Dylan, you couldn't be any more right about this. You know what's funny? You're young. You are young. This kid's only 14 years old and is seeing stuff that guys twice his age can't see. Well done, sir. Well done. Keandre Miller picked up his game for a handful of games, and then he's lost it again. Dylan's right. Dylan is absolutely right about this. And I've been saying it. It's annoying, and I get that there's growing pains with him. But the problem is that the mistakes that he's making are stuff that you're not supposed to be doing in Pee-wee. Pee-wee! You know what? And Keandre Miller is like a golden boy with Rangers fans on social media, the younger generation of them, I should say, because the older generation thinks that he should play like Jeff Buchnevich when that's just not going to be the case. Like, all we're asking for is him to play the body properly, not be Jeff Buchnevich or prime Chris Pronger. Nobody's asking Keandre Miller to be that. But you can't criticize Keandre Miller without fans being like, oh, you're too hard on him, or some other nonsense about Miller. Like, it's just annoying. Tired of it. Yeah, this ain't Pee-wee's Playhouse. Exactly. Thank you, Sean. But Dylan, again, you're right. He doesn't use his size to his advantage. Instead of like effectively playing the body and riding the defender off into the boards to separate him from the puck, he waves at him and gets caught. And then he often gets caught out of position, doing dumb things that he shouldn't be doing. Like, listen, I get it. You don't want to stifle somebody's offense, but at the same time, he needs to be taught like fundamental defense. So I just, I'm guessing JT Miller scored in the game. I guess Vancouver is playing right now. I haven't really looked at the scores. I'll actually look up the scores. For anybody that actually cares, I know that I don't really have any Islander fans in this chat. Noah Dobson got his 10th of the season, which is, I mean, pretty impressive considering that Noah Dobson's a second-year defenseman. He's killing it out there. Good for him. So, I do like Noah Dobson. I don't think that I do think that he's going to be he's already a very good defenseman, but he's got a hell of a career ahead of him. So, but yeah, JT Miller gets his 21st of the season. Thank you, Jalen. Totally, thank you for that. Yeah, I don't understand why they were doing that, Sean. I didn't have audio for that game, but I heard about that afterwards. So, yeah, Miller with a lousy pinch on that goal. Just a lousy play. Can Tampa Bay score and beat Pittsburgh, please? Please. I mean, the Capitals are beating the Hurricanes, which is good. The Canucks are beating the Islanders. Well, JT Miller's helping out the Rangers in that regard, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So the Metro Division is an absolute nightmare. Totally right about that. Greg, we're going to talk about this more in the Q&A. So we'll move on from the top four. I was saying this before, but Hunt, McKegg, and Gauthier and Nemeth, those four cannot be playing in the playoffs if this team wants to, one, make the playoffs, and two, they want to win a round. I'm sorry, they can't. They're just not good enough. They're not. I know that some people like Julien Gauthier and they're still high on him, but I don't see it. I don't. I think he's got a box of rocks for hockey IQ. He can't finish. And his size and his speed are nice, but what else does he offer? What else does he offer? I don't see it. I just don't. Sure, but the Hurricanes losing also helps Julien. I mean, sure, you want the Caps to lose, but you also want the Hurricanes to lose too. So, Gauthier hasn't really been playing with Reeves, though. He wasn't with Reeves. He was with the third line. So Steven, remember how this team was exhausted in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2012? Yeah, well, they also had to rely on 5 defensemen because Stu Bickle couldn't play more than 1 minute and 32 seconds a game in 2012. And yes, John, that's the thing. They're all fringe NHL players. They're all fringe NHL players. Yeah, that's kind of the point, Greg. Like, guys are playing above their stanchions. They shouldn't be playing in the positions they're in. Dryden Hunt, top 6 forward? Nope. That's going to be a no for me, dog. Not only that's going to be a no for me, dog, that's going to be a yikes for me, dog. But Greg McKegg in an NHL lineup. Major yikes. Patrick Nemeth playing NHL minutes. Major yikes. Like, those guys should not be in the league. Yeah, and this kind of speaks volumes right here from Steven. Hunt wasn't offered an extension by the Arizona Coyotes, and we have him on our second line. Do you want me to go put my head through a wall right now? Because I'm strongly considering it. Like, I know I'm going to have to fix that and sheetrock it, but like the idea of Dryden Hunt playing in this team's top 6 frustrates me to the point where I would legitimately want to put my head through a wall. Gauthier, you're right, Julian, is a one-trick pony. He's a one-trick pony. And you know what? I'm not going to ask him for goals. I know he draws penalties, which is good. He's one of the better players at drawing penalties in the league. But if he's not doing that, what is he doing for this team? You have to have somebody that's contributing more. Greg, this is a good question. I would have Capo Caco playing there once he gets back. But if we're not going to have Dryden Hunt playing there, I would rather see Filipino play with those two. Even though I think Filipino is a bad fit there too. I think Filipino is actually skilled enough to play with the other two. Yes, I know. That's why I said when he gets back. So, but yeah, I get it. Stephen Gauthier is the least of the 4 worries, and I agree with you. Like, you could put him in there as a 13th forward on the 4th line if you want to, but again, if he's playing in the playoffs, you're probably not winning a playoff round. I'm sorry, but you're probably not, and that's just the point. Not to get into semantics and all this other stuff, but if these guys are playing big minutes for you or any type of important role for you in the playoffs, you're probably not winning a round. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but that's it. And I don't even know if Morgan Barron's really a solution. Could Morgan Barron be a 4th line center with 2 better wingers around him? Like, if Barclay Goodrow and Arturi Lehkonen were his wingers on the 4th line, okay. But you're not getting Arturi Lehkonen for a 4th line, because then that means that you have to go out and you have to have a better winger on that 3rd line. And who are you getting at that point? Because not only are you doing Barclay Goodrow and Arturi Lehkonen on your 3rd line, your 4th line, but now that means that you got to go and make another 2 acquisitions at that point, because you got to have a 3rd line. So, but yes, exactly. This is the thing. It's Hunt is not an option there. Hunt has not been good in that role since about November. He had a good stretch in November, but what has he done since? Greg, I would like Garland. I think Garland fits cap-wise. Maybe, if Vancouver retains a little bit to help out the Rangers, but that's going to cost a little more. I just wonder what the cost would actually be on Garland. But I do think Garland could fit in that line. So, Lou, I don't think Brett played great, but I don't think he played his best either. I think it was just a kind of a subpar game from him, and he still got points. Which, you know what? Again, I get it. How can I complain when he had 3 points? I know. I sound ridiculous, but if you watch his game wasn't good. It wasn't. And then That's really the bad part of everything.
Ooh, that's bad.
And the one ugly thing that I've got to really point out is that second period was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. It was an eyesore. I think that I if I was not in public and I was at home, I probably would have been screaming my brains out. And yeah, and this is the thing, Greg. You're right about that with Panarin. Great players are going to get points regardless. So I think that's a bad way to measure play sometimes. Dylan, you're right. I think we're forcing too many passes. Way too many passes forced. And they like to go cross seam a lot. John, I'm going to bookmark this and I'm going to get back to that. I like that question about Zadina, John. So I'll bookmark it and we'll get back to that in the Q&A. I just want to talk about the second period here a little bit. I just think that whatever they were doing in that second period, I never want to see that ever again. Because it was just sloppy. It was lazy. It was stupid. I don't know what they were doing there. It looked like they gave up on the game. No, I was not on a date. I was actually not on a date. I was out with friends at Miller's watching it. I had a date Saturday, though. Actually went well. Second date is coming up on Monday. So, yay for me. Me getting a second date is like Halley's Comet coming around. Just saying. I think if anybody's got relationship problems that could rival Mark's, it's probably yours truly. So, what's his name? You would, buddy. You would. And yeah, that was a good time, Dylan. All the guys from Armory, that was a lot of fun. I really did have a lot of fun. Everybody showing up. So, yeah. And the timeout on the power play was brilliant by Gallant. He pressed the right button there. So don't worry, Sean. I'm not getting any dating information from Mark. That's like the blind leading the blind. And I know he's going to hear that. So I can't wait for it. But I just never want to see a second period like that ever again. I just thought that they absolutely gave up there for a second. I can't believe they won that game with the way that they gave up in that second period. They just did not have anything. They looked like they didn't want to play. They looked disinterested. The execution was just terrible, and Igor couldn't bail them out because Igor just had himself a little bit of an off night. So you know what? And you're right, Mike. They can't commit to 60 minutes for whatever reason, and that's going to be a problem come playoff time. That is going to be a major problem. So we'll see what happens, but they gotta get that done. Lindgren blocked the shot. I think he came back after the shot block, though. I thought I remember seeing him after the shot block. I know Igor helped him off the ice there, but I'm pretty sure he came back after that. So it was just a shot block. But that's it for the good, bad, and ugly part. I'm going to start going through the bookmark comments like I usually do. What do Mark and Microsoft Excel have in common? Incorrectly assuming something is a date. Oh, man. Yeah, this is a big blow. Kevin Rooney's been an unsung hero for the Rangers. And like I said before, I've said it multiple times, I crapped all over the Rangers for signing him. And he has done nothing but just been a solid acquisition and soldier for the Rangers. And I've loved everything that he's done with them. So good for Kevin Rooney. So very much so there. I hope that he gets back very, very soon because they're going to need him. I think Brody, now that Rooney's out, I think Barron probably will be in the lineup. And hopefully he gets a good extended look here because, I mean, you got to see what he has. He needs to improve his skating, though, Morgan Barron. I'm going to be honest. I don't think his skating is good enough right now. I don't. The last time Mark did well with a girl was looking at one out the window in 95. You know what? I read that comment real quick before highlighting it, and I thought it said something about Windows 95. But yeah, I mean, that would have probably been pretty accurate too, you know. So Steven, say what you want, but Phil does not want to shy away from admitting when he was wrong. Othman, yeah, I was wrong about Othman. Yeah, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I will absolutely admit when I'm wrong. I will take the licking. I try not to say, oh, I was right. Every now and then I will, because when I take the heat that I take for some of these takes that I make, you know what? That's what comes with being a pundit or just a personality, whatever you want to call me. I don't know. I'm not trying to make myself sound important or anything, because I'm really not in the grand scheme of things. But I will admit when I'm wrong. And I wanted Fedor Svechkov. I really wanted him. I wanted a center. I wanted Hendrix Lapierre. And yeah, you know what? All right. Enough out of you over here, Sean, with your Reeves manifestations. Yeah, I told you he wasn't coming, and I was wrong there too. So you know what? I will take the Crow. Yes, I've been taking it for quite some time because he's been great here. But yeah, I mean, I was wrong about Othman. I wanted a center. And the Rangers went and took a winger. Now, are you reporting this, Sean, or are you manifesting it? Because it sounds like you're manifesting it, because I don't think it's happened yet. So if you're manifesting it and you're right again, then I might have to stop going against what you say, because you might have something going on here. But yeah, like I said, I was wrong about Othman. I wanted Svechkov. I wanted the center. And they went and they took the winger. And holy shit, has Brendan Othman ever shoved it down my throat. Yeah. Yeah, Core is a regular commenter in here. He follows me on Twitter as well. I like Core's stuff a lot. I think he's a good kid. I think that he definitely has a bright future in doing this, because I think he's knowledgeable. I think he's well-spoken, and he's a good dude. He's one of those guys that just, unlike me, he knows how to take heat very well and kind of just brush it off. I sometimes tend to go back at people, because I will admit I'm an asshole. I full out admit that I'm an asshole, and I will definitely say that. But Core is one of the good ones, so I like Core. But it's funny that he said that, and he it ends up happening. I said we weren't getting him either. I said it was a fucking pipe dream. Excuse my language, but I definitely said that Lafreniere wasn't coming here, and it ended up happening. But I was wrong on Othman. I was wrong about Braden Schneider too. I liked the play. Again, I did not hate Othman the player. I hated the fact that they didn't take a center when I wanted a center for the second year in a row, because the first year was when they took Braden Schneider over Hendrix Lapierre, who was the guy I wanted in 2020 with the 19th pick. And Braden Schneider went and shoved it right down my throat the next season again. And he's even shoved it further down my throat. It's probably in my stomach right now. Like, yeah. He has made me eat all of the crow in the world, Braden Schneider. And I absolutely love that kid, because he's just great. He barely makes mistakes for a rookie. His poise is years ahead of where it should be. His skating is eons better than I thought it would be at this point. And Schneider's just been great. So, but yeah, I'm going to try to stop rambling here, but When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. Steven knows, our friend David posted the insider trading clip, and I quote tweeted on Twitter, crossing my words up over here, and I said that I don't think that they're at the stage yet where the Rangers are considered to be like, it's one of the, he made it sound like they were in like the final stages getting close to a deal. I don't think they are, but again, if I'm wrong and it ends up happening, then I'm wrong. I'm going to be wrong. I've been wrong before. It'll happen again. So, but I do want to go through your bookmark comments here. Greg, Revo, and Ott chirping each other. It's cool. I like seeing that. Let the friends chirp each other. And if people tell you that you can't have good relationships and have fun with friends on opposite teams and still be friendly with the competition, I think you're losing track of what brought us all to this sport. And that's sad. It's almost like the Hawks and the Mighty Ducks. Win, 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 like Coach Riley. So, but yeah. Greg with another one. If they aren't healthy, they need to sit now, not when it comes to the nitty-gritty part of the race. I couldn't agree with you more. I don't think they're going to do that just because they want to get the spot and they don't have the spot yet. And a lot of things could happen. There's still time, but I do agree with you. Steven, Barron sitting in favor of McKegg and Brodzinski, Teddy Brodzinski in practice is a crime. Yeah, I agree, Steven. I can't stand seeing McKegg get time over players that are better than him. Because this guy he is the dumbest hockey player I think I've ever seen in my life. And I've got to say right now, there are multiple examples I've seen of Greg McKegg's dumbassery. In a game against Boston, him and Kevin Rooney were shorthanded, and Kevin Rooney had a chance to get an area pass from McKegg. And all he had to do was throw the pass in a very, very wide gap, the gap where the puck wasn't going to be intercepted, right to Rooney, and Rooney would have had a shorthanded break-in. And what did McKegg do? Turned around and went offside and let Rooney go offside and turned around with it. Why are you doing that? It's not like you had to thread a Gretzky-type pass to get it to Rooney for the break-in. And then he did something stupid in the Vancouver game where he had the puck circling around, and instead of giving the puck to, I believe it was either Fox or Schneider, in the same type of play along the far side boards where the lane was open and the defender cut in, he took a low percentage shot from the point that didn't get through. Like, why would you do that? Oh, here's why. Because he's a dumbass. Because he doesn't have hockey sense. So, enough with that crap. Yeah, but I'm going to move on from that comment. Nemeth didn't hurt Igor, so that is a big win anyways. Yes, Mike, I totally agree. Any game that Nemeth doesn't hurt Igor is a big win. Go to Steven again. I really like what I'm seeing from Schneider. Man, what a guy. I raved about Schneider before. I can't say enough good things about him. Greg again, is JT Miller heading back to the Big Apple? Well, that's been the rumor of tonight. So get all you guys into a frenzy. If you didn't see the insider trading clip before from TSN's broadcast tonight, Darren Dreger is pretty much saying that the Leafs and the Rangers are the two big horses in on JT Miller. Now, he doesn't say that they're in serious talks, but he says they're the two teams that he's hearing about. He also linked the Rangers to Ricard Raquel and Ben Sherratt. So take from that what you will, but JT Miller is definitely on their radar. They had scouts in Vancouver's last game. Christy, I don't get how the Leafs had cap space for Miller either. I don't know how that works, but I don't know how they would fit that next year. They would have to lose some contracts. Somebody would have to go. So I assume that they have the cap space because of Muzzin probably being on LTIR right now. So that probably has something to do with it. I could take a look on Cap Friendly here. Steven might end up beating me to it because I know he's still in here. So Jake Muzzin. Let's pull that up. A little unprepared here. Sorry, guys. So Toronto's LTIR used 1.539 million. On LTIR, yeah, it's Jake Muzzin's on LTIR right now. They would probably have to let Jack Campbell go or let Peter Mrazek go next season to fit JT Miller in some sort of way. Ilya Lyubushkin's going to come off the books at the end of the season because he's a UFA. But some of these other guys, I mean, Ilya Mikheyev, do you re-sign him? Andre Kasha's probably gone because he's an RFA. Pierre Engvall, also an RFA. They both make $1.25 million. Kyle Clifford's probably gone after this season. Do you move Wayne Simmons? I mean, he's only $900K against the cap, but Alex Kerfoot probably would have to get moved at some point because he doesn't seem like he's doing anything. So, Michael Sullivan, I'll get to your question in a second. I like that one. I'm also going to ask you to clarify about your question, Michael. What do you mean by who do you want to see not going? Like, who do you want me to see the Rangers not go after, or who do you want to see not moved from what teams? So just if you could clarify that for me, and I will gladly answer that. Dylan, yeah, I like this comment here. It just, he doesn't have much hockey IQ, as we were saying before. That's the biggest problem. You can have the tools, but if you don't have the toolbox, you're not going to be anything. So that's why I always tell you to work on the fundamentals, Dylan. Always. So we'll go away from Greg's question there because that's already answered. John Lee, would I touch Zadina for a low-risk change of scenery type trade as he has potential? It depends on what they're looking for Zadina. It seems like there's a lot of guys that have been low-risk change of scenery type deals that have been moved recently. Lias Anderson you could point to and some others. But it depends on what Detroit wants. You'd never know what you can get from a player like that. Is he going to take the next step? Is he going to burn out and or is he going to completely burn out, or is he just going to fade away, without much of a fight? I mean, he's an RFA at the end of this year. He's not going to get a substantial raise. He's got 7 goals and 17 points in 52 games this year. In 2019-20, he looked like he was on pace to do something. He had 15 points in 28 games. That's over a 40-point pace over 82 with about, I would say, 17 goals or so, maybe closer to 20 goals. So, I mean, I would think about it depending on what's being asked for, So, all right, Brody, thank you very much. I appreciate this. Remember, everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody about us. Helps us get going and get off the ground. So definitely do that. I appreciate that. All of us do here. So, and Michael, you're asking, who do I want to see not going at the deadline from the current roster? You were saying, yeah. Which of the current roster do I not want traded? I don't want to see Schneider moved. I think that would have to be pretty obvious. I would be okay with them moving Keandre Miller in the right deal. I'm not saying just trade him away for nothing. But if you're going to tell me that they're going to go get Jacob Chychrun, I would be okay with him being in that deal because there's a less than a 2-year age gap between Chychrun and Miller. People don't realize this, but it's less than 2 years. And honestly, you would hope that Miller can become Chychrun even before last year. Because last year's season, probably an outlier from Chychrun. He's not going to score shoot 18%. That's just not going to happen. That's unsustainable for any player, never mind a defenseman. So, I think that I think that I would gladly move Miller in a Chikrin deal. But I would not want to move Schneider. Obviously, the Untouchables, Fox, Panarin, and Igor, Mika, Kreider, really right now is an untouchable. I don't know if you're talking about the system or two, but no Berard, no Hoffman. I would like to keep Cooley because I think he could be a Tom Wilson type. Maybe not as good as Tom Wilson, but he could be that type of player. And I think the Rangers need something like that. If Will Cooley turns into Lawson Krause, I'm more than okay with that. I'm more than okay with that. Because I think that would be a very, very helpful player. And I think that's a fair gauge for what Will Cooley could be. And Lawson Krause, by the way, he wasn't a tremendous scorer in juniors. Like, if you look at his junior numbers, they weren't like earth-shattering or eye-popping or anything like that. And he was drafted in 2015 in the first round, 11th overall. I mean, he had a good season in 2015 where he had 70 points in 56 games, including 29 goals for Kingston. 51 points, in 56 games. I was reading the wrong column. And then he had 62 points in 49 games in 2016, which was his draft plus 1 year. So that was him as an 18 going on 19-year-old. So that was really his 18-year-old season. But I would take Krause. I would take a Krause if Will Cooley became Krause. So don't have any other bookmarked comments in here. But what are your all thoughts on the trade deadline here? What are your all thoughts on JT Miller? What are your thoughts on Ben Sherratt? Serve him up. I'm here for a little bit. Definitely want to do this for a little longer. David Wood, welcome back, buddy. David says, I hope we don't make a deal this year. I want to see what the team looks like with Kako back on the second line, plus saving the assets to get a second line center if Strome leaves. I agree with you. I agree with you there. It's a good idea to save assets for a bigger deal. If you told me that Mark Scheifele would be available this offseason, I would be more than okay with that if Ryan Strome leaves. So, Jalen, very boring so far. I don't know. I guess you're talking about the chat or the trade deadline. I'm not sure, Jalen. But I mean, it is a little quiet night in the comment section. We have almost 30 viewers in here, so definitely for you guys and girls who were lurking, definitely chime in here because I got some Q&A time. That's why I try to get through the good, bad, and ugly parts a little quicker so we can do that. Oh, the deadline? Well, Jalen, the deadline really hasn't picked up yet. I mean, we're still okay. So the deadline is the 21st. So that is 2 weeks from 2 weeks from this upcoming Monday is the trade deadline. So STIB, welcome back. After the Boots trade, I'm worried about any potential deal that Drury might make. Yes. I can't say much other than yes to that because I'm with you there. Just an FYI, I hope we utilize the cap space. I hope we do too. I hope we do, but I hope we do it in a very smart way. Steven Vierling with his 13th of the season. He now has 11 points in his last 9 games. Yeah, I want to see more from Evan Vierling. I had high hopes for him, especially considering the fact that in his OHL draft year, the only guy that was drafted ahead of him was Quentin Byfield. He was drafted ahead of Jamie Drysdale. So it shows you that there's some potential to be had. So, David Wood, I don't get why NHL teams wait until the last minute to make moves. Jim Rutherford doesn't. That's one man that does not like to wait. Chris T, I bet my house Hampus Lindholm will be a Florida Panther by the trade deadline. Oh, I don't know if I would bet that, Chris. I think Anaheim keeps on to him. Brody, you wanted Pavelski, but the Stars keep winning and they won't be sellers. You and I both, buddy. Mike, no worries. I will be concerned after a trade happens. So many fake rumors to drive up player values. Yeah, that's what the media does, my friend. Michael Sullivan agrees with David. Would winning one round be considered a successful season? Yeah, I probably for this team. Yeah. Dylan, I say trade Georgiev somewhere while he still has decent value. Bring up Kincaid. I don't know if anybody is going to want to trade for Georgiev right now. Matt, I would stay away from Patrick Kane. Too big of a deal. Complicates cap. And with everything that happened with the Blackhawks this season, I don't know if I want that stigma on my team either. Steven Vierling missed a full season due to the pandemic and the Rangers not having an ECHL team. So, yeah, it does hurt, but yeah. Jeff Weinstein, do I think we will be playing Pittsburgh in the first round? That's possible. That's definitely possible. I don't know if I'd want to play them in the first round right now. I think I'd rather go through the Atlantic and play Florida or Tampa Bay. I think their success against those teams this season, I think I would rather play them. I think they might match up a little better. Steven, you could tell that there aren't any leaks from the front office after the whole turnover last summer just because journalists are throwing down. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. The Rangers don't have a real leak aside from Larry Brooks. So if you're not getting anything from Larry Brooks, who's going to be giving the leaks here? Because as much as I love Vince Mercogliano's work, and I think that in terms of total coverage of the Rangers, I think Vince is the best. You don't really see a whole lot of trade rumors from Vince. Colin Stevenson is another one. I like his work. Great follow on Twitter. Good guy to talk to. He will respond when he can. But another one that doesn't get a lot of leaks. Molly Walker kind of goes back and forth between the two teams from the New York Post. Doesn't get a lot of leaks. Who's really? I don't think that Staple really hasn't gotten a lot of rumors yet. And I'm not saying that Staple has to. And he probably could. He's worked for the Rangers before in the past for Newsday. So, really, but Larry is probably the most connected one out of all the journalists. And if you're not hearing a lot of rumors from Larry, so who are you going to hear him from? David Wood, over and under on a Subban fight tomorrow. 1.5. I hope somebody goes after him, though. I'll tell you that. Dylan, if the playoffs ended today, we would be playing the Panthers, he believes. You could be right about that. I'd have to go check the standings. So Brody says he's with David. So many young kids in the system only want small moves. Well, that's why I keep calling for Kessel, because Kessel wouldn't cost much, and I think he would fit in perfectly on that second line. I think that would round out the top six. And when Capo comes back, you can play him on the third line, and he's all right. And I know a lot of people would hate that, but you know what? For them to make a run, I think they need another top six winner. And I would like to have Capo have a clean slate next season. First time, Steven says, first time since the Blais incident, we play the Devils. Interesting. I don't think Reeves dropped the gloves, but Laugh might. He's pesky. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. So Steven is saying maybe Lafreniere fight. Probably be the first time since Rimouski that he's fought. Oh, no, he fought earlier on in the season. That's right. Never mind. Sorry. Hold on. I'm going to take a look at the standings to see if Greg is right about the Pens, because I think he might be. Yes, that's what I was talking about. He fought versus the Islanders. I forgot about that. He fought Anders Lee. Yep. Pajot. Speaking of which, the Islanders tied the game. Kyle Palmieri. Oilers and Blackhawks are at 2-2 right now. Draisaitl got his 38th, which is leading the league. And Draisaitl now has 78 points. Seems like Draisaitl's back to his old ways. So, Capitals won. They beat the Hurricanes. So the Hurricanes are not ahead or not gaining any ground above the Rangers. Washington won. So now they have a 17-point lead over the Islanders for that last wild card spot. And they have an 8-point lead over Columbus, which is crazy. Yeah, Jalen, I hope he does get fed. Tell you that. He's gonna learn. He's gonna learn eventually. That's all I'm gonna say. He's gonna learn. Michael, which Rangers will be considered for bridge deals next year? I think Capo Caco is probably the main target for a bridge deal. If you look at their situation, let's see here. So go to teams. I'd have to pull up their cap numbers or their statuses for next year. Okay, so next year, Julian Gauthier is an RFA. I don't think he's with the team next year. Tim Gettinger is an RFA. I think he just gets small deal, whatever. But I believe Capo Caco, Sammy Blais are both probably bridge deal candidates. I think Kevin Rooney comes back. Georgiev is probably gone. Libor Hayek is probably gone. So, 762 goals from Ovechkin. He is now 132 away from tying Wayne Gretzky. It's just a matter of when it happens. Matt Zuccarello about to set a career high in points on almost half the games he did in 2015-16. That's an interesting stat, Chris T. Good for Matt Zuccarello, though. Yeah, Trouba has 6 fights because every time Trouba has to fight every time he throws a big hit. So, David, I don't think he'll stand for under $1 million. So that's why I don't think he's back. That's just me. I also think he might be a throw-in in a trade, but that's not another story. Steven, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I don't think Kako has really accomplished nearly as much as Hedl has. Yes, Kako is a better defensive player than Filip Hedl. Like, there is no doubt about that. But if you look at the stats, Filip Hedl had better numbers. Okay, so Filip Hedl as a rookie had 23 points in 75 games, comparable to Kako. But in 2020, he had 14 goals and 23 points in only 60 games. Comparable, but a little better than Kako. And then last year, he was on pace for over 40 points. He had 8 goals and 22 points in 42 games. That's over a 40-point pace over 82. Not saying that he would have finished with that, but Capo Caco hasn't come close to that. So maybe I'm kind of with Chris T here. 2.5 tops, I think, is the most Caco can get. So. Yeah, interesting way to go about things. I'll probably go for like another 5 minutes, guys and girls. Saw Ariana and Diane here before, so always try to include the girls. But definitely fire up some more comments and questions. Like I said, I'm probably going to go for like another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll probably be doing some watching and stuff. Might maybe go to sleep early. So, you know what it is, David? I just don't think I don't think he has a future here. It's not that I hate the player himself. I think he's part of the thing. Part of the problem is that the Rangers are trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with Hedl. They're trying to make him be a center. He's clearly not a center. He's a winger. He is a winger by all means. And I think he would prosper on the wings somewhere else. But they continue to try to push the square peg in the round hole, and it's not working. And I feel bad for him. I think he needs a change of scenery. That's all. It's not that I hate him. If someone offers Capo Caco an offer sheet like that, I mean, is someone really going to pull a Jesperi Kotkaniemi? Montreal really did that out of spite. So whoever does that to the Rangers, you damn well better know that the Rangers are going to do whatever they can back in return. And they're going to make someone's life hell. Chris Drury will do it. I like this comment from John here. I love the sound of that line. I don't think Kopp is going anywhere. I think Kopp gets re-signed. I think he's having one hell of a year. Yeah, I would agree with this. He has regressed, Steven Hedl, that is. Hedl has regressed. But I do think that a big part of it is the organization's fault. It's their refusal to see that he's not a center, and they just misused him. I think the writing is definitely on the wall here. You're right about that. I just think he's gone. I think he's gone either by the deadline, if not by the deadline, definitely by, I would say, the draft or the beginning of the offseason. He is not on this team next year. I would put good money on that. So I definitely agree. Jalen, when will the Rangers be able to properly develop prospects? Yeah, I definitely agree with you asking this question, Jalen, because it's a question that we all had. But the answer is pretty easy. You got Matt Hunwick, Tanner Glass, and Jed Ortmeyer as three of your top guys in player development. And I'm not saying that you have to be a skilled player, but these guys just don't seem to understand how to really get through to skilled players. So I think it might be time for a change with those three. Steven, John Cooper was ejected from the Pittsburgh-Tampa Bay game for complaining about the Penguins getting preferential treatment from the refs. What a shock, because that's what's been happening with Pittsburgh as of late. Chris, yes, I did. Christy, yes, I did say that my number one most realistic target for the Rangers was probably going to be Kessel. I think an A-plus trade deadline would be getting Kessel for cheap, going and getting two of Jarnkrok, Lehkonen, or McCann, even though I don't think McCann's moved anymore. I think two of the three or two players like that would be great, and maybe a depth defenseman. I think that would be an A-plus deadline, because you would get a lot of the fringe NHL players out of this lineup. Yeah, I would love to have Buchnevich and Zuccarello on this team, but yeah. So, Dolan is a big problem, but I don't think he has anything to do with the player development. I get what you're saying about him wanting to kind of push the rebuild ahead, but yeah. Chris Drury not wanting, Steve doesn't want Drury to trade away prime assets. Yeah, I do agree with this. I do. I don't want an all-in type move. Unless you're going to tell me that you're going to go get Mark Scheifele right now, I don't want an all-in type move. I don't. And Mark Scheifele is not just an all-in rental fix type move. That's a we're going to go try and win this within the next couple of seasons type move. And Mark Scheifele can help now and can help in the next 2 seasons. So, yeah. But I'm going to call it. I appreciate all of you coming in and joining me for this. I wanted to get this in because I just thought it was a good night for it. And with all the talk about JT Miller and the Rangers, and I saw that, I thought that was awesome. So, And Lou says he's seen Glass in Hartford last week. So there's something going on. It's definitely something going on. But yeah. And I agree with this, Steven. I only want to see Drury trade any of those guys if the return is a guy that's here past 2024. Yeah. A short-term upgrade, you trade all that. You trade all the other lower end assets. So, but yeah, I'm gonna end it tonight. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Definitely check us out. Like I said, on the Facebook group, as it scrolls across the bottom there, facebook.com/group/Big Apple Hockey. I try to give updates as to when I'm going to do these. I know Mark posted one. Definitely keep the notifications on. Steven, I don't know how you're up at 2:40 in the morning, but get some sleep, bud. Thank you, Dylan. I see your comment in there. Appreciate it. You have a good night, man. Thank you all for coming. Brandon Vega, good to see you in there, buddy. I didn't see much of you in the comment section tonight, but definitely. Mikey, thank you as well. Have a good night. But thank you all for joining us. I'll try to continue, like I said, to do more of these, but my work schedule is definitely going to start to change around soon. So might have to do them a little more during the earlier hours of the day if I can. But thank you, everybody. Stay safe and have a good night, and let's go Rangers.